Good morning to everybody. Happy to be in Bangalore, which I am very closely associated with Bangalore. I Pre-COVID, I used to travel once in at least a month, and I I have seen this city grow from a garden city to a city of tech, and that is the transformation that I see about this city. But coming to this whole fintech industry, and first of all, I would like to thank BW for inviting me from Delhi. And about the whole fintech industry itself, the enormity and the bigness of this is realized by the fact that there are 2,200 fintech companies, and right from credit, insurance, wealth management, agri, and all others, monitoring, budgeting, you have all sort of companies, fintech companies. And I, being a part of the jury, had the privilege of seeing all these companies. And also I was part of the jury last year, so I could see the transformation of some of them who became unicorn. So I could see that. So I have, as a chartered accountant and as a person who runs a firm also, I have seen the growth of many fintech companies. I have seen fintech companies going down, and there are many such instances that happen across the industry. But primarily this industry is bound to grow, and we are the second largest globally. And I can tell you, in the next 5 years, we may be at the top. That is the growth the fintech industry has shown in the last 2-3 years, and the capital that has flown in has been really enormous, and that is why I feel I'm very confident that the fintech industry will do very well. We are the second largest user of internet, and that's a thing that we cannot take away from this country. We cannot take away the fact that so many companies and ideas have come in, and we are able to give these ideas outside India too, and that's a great achievement for the fintech industry. But all is not rosy, as one would say, because I see the challenges. And why I'm addressing these challenges is because every entrepreneur, every fintech entrepreneur, worker, employee must know the challenges of fintech industry. What are the challenges? First, you have to come up on an idea which is unique. May not be unique, but at least a good business model. Second, you have to see that you are ahead of the competition all the time, because it's a very competitive environment of the fintech industry. The third thing is the capital. You have ideas, but the capital is a big constraint, and that is why we depend on the venture capitalists and PE funds, etc. So this capital is a big challenge in my view, and I will come to that, discuss in short after this enlisting all the challenges. The fourth challenge that I see with all the fintech industry is the shareholder agreement. And I can tell you, because I myself are resolving shareholder issues. So I see that the initial agreement, the shareholder agreement, has to be very clear. People start with an idea, they think everything is fine, they don't put a very strong shareholder agreement, and then comes the venture capitalists or the PE funds, and then they invest, and then the challenges happen. So the shareholder agreement is one of the key. You have, if you have to go to the next level, even up till the IPO level, the shareholder agreement becomes the most important aspect of the whole journey. That is one thing that I feel that most of the people, you are all technical people, you have all good ideas, but putting across a good shareholder agreement which is vibrant, which can take to the next level, and also which is protected towards your rights is very important. And you have seen Ankita Bose's very recent incident. Then you have seen at least 10, 11 cases where, the promoter himself or herself has been ousted. So this happens why? Because of maybe shareholder agreement and the do's and don'ts which are not very clearly defined of a promoter. The next challenge that comes in is the governance issues. Let me tell you, if you see all the growth in all the fintech companies and those who have done well are seeing governance issues. What are the governance issues? Because you do not have a guideline of spending. You mix up the personal expenses with the company's expense. You think because the company has a good share valuation, you can do anything and you can spend as much as you want. But it doesn't happen that way. When you have taken money from others, when somebody has invested in you, they will be very, very carefully watching you. And that is where I think the governance issues become very, very relevant in today's context. Because what happens, there is zero tolerance for governance. The next, another issue that is there is compliance. We are all technical people, very good in our work, very good in our business model, very, very good in our marketing skills. Our product is accepted, but our compliance, because the compliance cost in India is still high. Let us not forget the compliance cost. The compliance cost is very high. And the compliance cost, if you want, means there are some stats, it can range from 5 to 15%. And I think because you will have to look at your accounts, you will have to be on the top of your compliance, you'll have to ensure that the compliance happens in the right form. And I think that is where most of the promoters, most of the entrepreneurs go wrong, because compliance catches up, right from GST, TDS, Companies Act, returns, and so many other things. So I think it's very important to put across the compliances in a right format. So I think these are the 7-8 challenges. Apart from that, the next challenge is when you grow, you want to have the next round of capital, and then we have another set of problems. Means the new set of shareholders would like to have different type of conditions. So I think this is when you grow to a certain extent, that is another problem. The next round of series that you are raising funds, and how the original shareholding agreement may not stand good. And of course, if you grow well and you want to do an IPO, what is the pricing, what is the compliance, and the IPO has its own challenges. And you have seen the best of companies, which I am not naming, have listed far below par, because below the issuance, because they were not, they didn't have the sort of fundamentals or the profits. So still, stock market does look at fundamentals. Investors may come in, but the fundamentals cannot be sort of wished away, and that is what is very important. So the key to the whole thing is, are you making a company which has fundamental strength? So here we are only looking at valuation. Please, my earnest request to each one of you is not only to look at valuation, but to look at fundamentals. Because if you are fundamentally strong, your valuations will follow. If valuations are chased by fundamentals, it won't work. If fundamentals are chased by valuation, I think that is going to be the key, in my view. And I have seen, because I have seen so many of the companies where we are as auditors, as helping them in the shareholding agreement, I see what are the pitfalls, and these are the pitfalls. And I won't take, I have been given 10 minutes, I do not know, because am I on time? So I think so. So the command comes from there, so I am on time. So now coming to the fact, I would like to make one thing very clear to each one of you, as I first of all wish that everybody focuses and grows further. But the shareholder, I was doing a settlement with a shareholder with somebody, and they said they are like a python. They just strangulate us. So what happens is the shareholder or the investor looks at their return of investment. And why not? Because they have LPs sitting on them. Somebody has invested in them also. So I think it's important to get the right type of stakeholders who will walk the distance with you, who are prepared to take the grind along with you, and where you are transparent about each milestones that you make, that so that the level of dialogue between the stakeholder and yourself should be at the highest level and should be very transparent. That is what I have to say as far as this fintech industry. Fintech industry is a great opportunity. New banks are coming in, where you know where you have to market yourself, where you have to place yourself. Can you become as big as others, or you must recognize your own strength and weaknesses. You must see where you are positioned, how is your position in the market, and do you have that capital to position yourself further. So like for example, the new banks will sit with the banks, with the public sector banks and big banks who are full of capital, and how do you fit in between, start working with them. So that is what I would say. That's the role that one can look at. So everybody has to look at a space. This space is growing. 19% of the whole fintech industry is on the payment side. Agri is also very heavily, aggregation of loans is very good. We have reached where the public sector banks could not. We have served during COVID times. I was last year in the jury, and I could see companies have served cash to old people who were could not move, and they did the hard work of the banks. So I think the industry is poised for a great growth. But I think with the growth comes these challenges which I have outlined. So I thank you for patiently hearing about this. And if I do not know whether there is a question or there is nothing, just as is it okay, or one odd question? I'm ready to take one odd question, please. Though it is only a keynote speak, but I always feel that it's good to interact.
So, good morning. I am Ramamurthy. Since you work for NSE, NSE has a fantastic software and governance. And in spite of that, what happened recently, that this co-location business.
So
which,
1 minute, sir. I never worked for NSC. I was in BSc. So first correction first.
Okay, sorry. If that is the case.
Yeah.
Can you throw some light why this has been going on for so many years and they could not find out, and still it is going on?
So first of all, I am not authorized to speak about a rival exchange. First of all, I would not like to make a public statement at all about a rival exchange. It's in public domain. What is, you all know as much as I know. But I can proudly say, as BSc chairman, co-location did not happen with us, because we were very vigilant, we were clear, and it was in the air. Everything was being spoken, this whispers, so to say. But that's why we went one step. The MD also went one step of getting the certificates from relevant people that there is no co-location, and that is why BSc like that. Yeah, so I hope I have answered your question to a reasonable extent. And sorry that I did not make the response on NSC. My apologies, because my ethics and my code of conduct wouldn't allow me to do so. Thank you so much.